We're having a sushi feast.
Hello my friends, this is Sylvie Curry, Lady of Q, and once again I'm in my kitchen. Today is a sunny Sunday afternoon. It's been raining all week, but it cleared up today. We have some friends over, actually they're friends of my daughter, and they all did a half marathon this morning, and we decided to do a nice little treat for them today. It's going to be a sushi fest.
The first thing I did to get this fish sashimi, poke, ceviche fiesta going was to do all my prep. So these are some of the ingredients that are going to go into varying components of this meal. I'll start here. I've got my rice cooker ready, and I've got some Japanese rice that I'm going to make sushi type rice with. I've got lettuce, and that's more of a garnish or decoration. This is freshly squeezed lemon juice. I got varying types of onions. I've got minced onions, are finely diced. I have onion ringlets, shallots, and I've got garlic. I didn't have any cucumber, but I thought I would substitute some zucchini, so this is diced zucchini. I didn't have any jalapenos, but I did have a pasilla pepper, which I roasted, took the skin off, and diced. These are more garnishes for the ceviche and the poke. So the carrots, more zucchini, tomato, and green onion. I also have some sesame oil, some low sodium soy sauce, rice vinegar, and sesame seeds.
I'm going to start with our Ono, and this is about a 1.5 pound package. I'm only going to be using about a half of it for my ceviche, and the other half I'm going to slice thinly for some sashimi. Opening this package, and I'll see what I have. There's 2 sections. I'm going to use the larger section for the ceviche and the smaller one for the slices. My primary reason for doing that is that this one doesn't have as much of the stringy things that are going through it. I'll do a close-up of that. See that? Whereas this one has a better texture for sashimi. In order to make the ceviche, we're going to cube the fish. So I'm going to take, this is a smaller side, and the cube should be bite size. Actually, I'll slice. And the ceviche is cooked, as I mentioned, in the lemon lime. It's acidic, so it breaks down, and you'll see the changes that are going to occur once I add the lemon lime mixture. So you see the little cubes we're making. They're about a little larger than a 1/4 inch, less than a half. Cubed fish. Now I'm going to put it in my container here. And what I'm going to first do, let's move this over, I'm going to add enough lemon juice just to cover the fish. Don't know what quantity that's going to be. Started off with a cup of lemon juice and a little bit more in there. Have a half a cup remaining. So this is a half a cup of lemon juice. And that's ceviche. And I said before, it's just enough to cover. And we'll first let this stand for about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to add just a little bit of the pepper. And this is freshly ground pepper. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt. And we'll let that mix, put it in the refrigerator, and we'll get to the next step. My next step is to prepare my sushi grade tuna. This is yellowfin tuna, and it weighs in at 3 pounds, 6.5 ounces. I'm going to cut off some of the sections of it to use for the poking and reserve the better looking sections of it for the sushi. Other ways to prepare this would be to slice it and make tuna steaks. But since it's so fresh, I'm going to do the sashimi and the poking. So looking at it, this section on this side is what I'm going to use for my poke. So I'm going to slice all the way down there. Okay. And I'll put this section back in the refrigerator and save for when we do our sashimi slices. It's a nice piece of fish. Now we're going to do our prep for our poke. And once again, need to make nice little cubes, bite-sized cubes. So I'm taking the parts that I trimmed off of that big chunk, cubing them up. They aren't perfect, but they are bite-sized. So as a meal with all these condiments, it's a nice treat to have fresh sushi or fresh meat to make into the poke. Here we're making our cubes. There's no odor to this fish, which verifies that it is fresh. Oh, maybe get one more. Okay. So I've got my tuna sliced and cubed to make poke. We'll come back and start mixing the ingredients together. I moved my poke to another bowl to make it easier to mix all the other ingredients. Then I'll transfer it back to the other container for storage until it's time to eat. There's our cubed sushi grade tuna. To this poke, I'm going to do a traditional, so I'm going to add some of the basic ingredients like onions, and amounts vary. Right now I'm only putting in maybe, this onion was a very large onion, and this is about a quarter of a very large onion. And the dice is very small. I've got some garlic. This total was 4 cloves of garlic. I'm only going to be using about half of it, so it's about 2 cloves of garlic. I've got my pasilla pepper that was roasted and cubed. Zucchini, that's all going to go in. Then I'm going to add my soy sauce. This is a low sodium soy sauce. You can use any kind that you wish. This just happened to be what I had. We'll add a little bit of rice vinegar, not much. Some sesame oil. And that's probably like about a teaspoon. And we'll mix that up. And we'll see what kind of consistency we get. If all of our ingredients are coated. I'm also going to add some green onion. I'm going to save most of it for presentation. I've got a few shallots. Put that in there because it has a little bit of red color. Give it a little taste. You can use a little bit more of the soy sauce for the salt. Mixing this, I'm going to put it back in the other bowl. Put it in the refrigerator and let it chill after I take another taste. We'll put it in the container, put it in the refrigerator, let all those flavors meld together. It's my pokey. And I'll come back and we'll start in on completing our ceviche. Now we're going to make our ceviche. Our fish has been marinating in the refrigerator in the lemon lime juice, so you can see that it's turned a bit opaque. We're going to add all of it in addition to the lemon lime juice to a larger container to mix. To this, I'm going to be adding the remainder of the garlic I had. So this is about 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to add my shallots and the big pieces of onion and mix that together. And while I was getting ready to put this together and bring it out to show you what I was doing, I realized there was no color in here. I don't have any cilantro. But what I do have in my refrigerator, if you pay attention to some of my videos, you know that I have what I call a seasoning mix. And that's some parsley, some green onions, and this has a little bit of celery in it also. So I'm going to add that. And it's not going to be as flavorful as if it would be with cilantro, but I'll have the color. And we'll mix that all together and see if I need to add more lemon juice. And I know I'll need to add more salt and pepper. Here's my pepper. That's about half teaspoon of salt. And we'll mix that all together. There are other things that you could add to the ceviche. You could add cubed avocado. You could add tomato. You could add almost any vegetable that you would like. There are some places like Peruvian restaurants where they put yams in there. Cucumber would go well. Let's see what I've got here. More salt. More salt. That's about another half teaspoon. One of the things that I could also add here to add some color, some red pepper flakes. That's my ceviche, which I'm going to put back in the refrigerator so those flavors can melt more and be ready for eating later on. Here we have that gorgeous piece of Ono. I trimmed it so that it would make nice little sashimi slices. And the part that I trimmed off, I added to my mixture to make the ceviche. I've got a slicer knife and I'm going to attempt to make really nice sashimi slices. So far, it's doing very well. Very important to have a very sharp knife. These are going to be eaten raw as sashimi with wasabi, soy sauce. Okay. Slicing this is similar to the skills that it takes, I would think, to slice brisket. Nice, even strokes to make nice slices. With a very sharp knife. And there you have it. And I'll wrap this back up. Here we have, again, our sushi grade yellowfin tuna. On this, I'm going to do a slice right down there in half, or maybe not. Let me try a couple of slices first. It'll be pretty big, I think. Yeah, that's pretty big. But then I'm gonna do a few of them like that, just because they look so pretty. It helps having a nice slicer knife to do that. Oop, I tore that one up a little bit. I think I'm gonna go on to making the remainder of these slices. Look at that. Look at that. Let's do the last section. What one of these cross sections looks like. That's dinner tonight. Yellowfin tuna sashimi. I'm gonna wrap these back up till it's time to eat, and we'll be on with it. I am now going to attempt to make this sushi rice. My rice is finished cooking in my rice cooker. The bowl is still a bit hot. And I'm going to put this in this container. Because what we want it to do, we want it to cool off. And we want to fluff it up, add some seasoned rice vinegar to it so that we can shape it in our typical sushi rice configuration. See, that's quite hot. You can still see the steam coming off of it. So fluff it around a bit. Don't want to mush it, just want to fluff it. I've got about 1.5 tablespoons of the rice wine vinegar in this container, and I'm going to sort of just dribble a little bit over the rice while mixing. Don't want to get it too moist. We want that flavor to get absorbed within that rice while the rice cools off. Finish off the last part of it. That seasoned rice vinegar has a little bit of salt, a little bit of sugar, and vinegar. So you get a little bit of sweet, and you get that acidic, tangy taste of the vinegar. I'm going to let that sit and finish cooling a little bit. Then I'll form it into my little rice cakes. I started taping my making the sushi rice, and I realized I didn't have the recorder on. So I did make one batch, and I'm using this container, and I'll show you what I'm doing over here. When making sushi rice, you have to make sure your hands are wet. They dried off just that quick. Let's see. Because if you don't make sure your hands are wet, then the rice will be very sticky. So I put the rice, and this is the rice that I previously seasoned with the seasoned rice wine vinegar. Put it in the mold. I've got my rice going into the mold and making sure my hands are wet. They dry out fairly quickly, so I probably should have a bowl of water right next to me. Poor planning here, Sylvie. Anyway, you take the mold and you put the top on it. And that's the other side. Then I can take the mold top off, put it on my serving tray, and gently push down so that the rice will be removed from the mold. Then we have perfectly shaped sushi. Ceviche, poke, sashimi with Ono and yellowfin tuna, sushi rolls with yellowfin tuna and Ono, lettuce for wraps, condiments and veggies to go with the meal. We're having a sushi feast.
Here we go. People are eating.
What was that, Trace?
Stop.